So traders, Patrick Bet David and also Peter Schiff they've done actually a few debates over the last sort of a couple of months. There was actually one that happened just recently, the six days ago, but then also there was also one that they actually did 6 months ago. And I want to share with you what they were saying 6 months ago, why they were saying 6 months ago, who was right, who was wrong, what my opinions on of what they're saying there, and some lessons we could probably learn from some of them there with their ego at the time, and probably some of my own friends as well too. Then I'm also going to share with you what are they saying right now as of 6 days ago, and also want to share with you what I see how gold's going to react, of how Peter Schiff's talking about, and then also I want to bring into some things that Ray Dalio talks about, what's happening on the big picture. I've got a lot of stuff that I want to share with you today, so let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, let's get straight into it. Traders, make sure you grab that free trading course, link in the description. If you need help with your trading, it's 5 phases long. Phase number 1, or very first video, you get like a 90-minute training walking you through my #1 trading system, the biggest mistakes I made, the 3 secrets you need to learn to make good income, stuff like that. Then you also get access to a 5-phase trading course, from the biggest mistakes you're making to the chart reading techniques to the trading systems and some other cool stuff as well too. So make sure, very first thing in the description, guys, go click on that, and it's for free. So go get that right now, or go to John's. If it's not a link down there, go to johnsfreegift.com, JOHNS freegift.com. So I want to play this clip here. This is the video here that I want to play for you, and I'm going to put this on just a bit of a different speed here, and I want to start off with. This one here, they did, as you can see, at the end of last year. And the really interesting point I really want to bring point here is I actually really enjoy the content of Peter Schiff and also Patrick Bet David. I actually really like their content. But the big thing that we need to understand when it comes to Peter Schiff is he is always big picture. Okay? And a lot of people take Peter Schiff's content as in, well, that's what's going to happen right now today, right? Peter Schiff, I'll give my opinion based on Peter Schiff a bit later on. But remember, the biggest mistake people make is that he's always big picture. So let's actually get into this interview that happened just at the end of last year.
Welcome back to Unfiltered. Folks, the numbers don't lie. The cryptocurrency craze is real. But is it here to stay? Could it actually help our economy get back on track? Joining me for a debate is chief economist at
Now I want to stop there, because remember the big thing is the big thing about this, right, is as he just said, right, the crypto craze is real. And I want you to think about it, as you're listening to this interview, right, you got Peter Schiff here calling the the crypto guys, right, but then Patrick Bet David, remember, he's in a different mind frame as well too, as it there, but I'm gonna explain why I believe both of these guys are actually going to be right. But let's just get straight into it here. But again, guys, a lot of them, there was a very big hype about those things, right? And if you got into early about the NFTs, if you got into the cryptos, right, you would have made a lot of money. So let's actually get into this here.
Euro-Pacific, Peter Schiff, and entrepreneur Patrick Bet David. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me. Peter, I'll go to you first. Do you think cryptocurrency is a possible hedge for people out there who are scared of inflation? Is it the new gold?
Oh, it's not even close to the new gold. You're right, it is a craze, and all crazes come to an end. Bitcoin doesn't have any value in and of itself. It's not backed up by anything that has any value. People buy these digital tokens because they think somebody else will pay a higher price than they did. Now, the people who got...
So Peter's obviously saying here that obviously it's not gold, and it's so true, right? And so many people, you cannot make the same evidence that Bitcoin is the exact same thing as gold. Like there's no in between there, right? Gold is actually a valuable asset, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. Why Peter Schiff is probably overall going to be right initially, but also Patrick Bet David is also going to be right as well too. But again, remember, this was 6 months ago. And again, I want to share something that happened with Ray Dalio as well.
Got in early and who are selling now, well, they made a lot of money. But the people who are buying now or who are not selling, they're going to lose a lot of money. That's how these pyramids work, and that's what this is.
Patrick, your thoughts on the subject. Is this a hedge? Is it worth it? Is it craze? Please.
Now remember, Patrick Bet-David, he's obviously much younger than Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff's been around for quite some time, right? And Patrick Bet-David, he's just getting into, I think he's just getting into his 40s, where Peter Schiff, you guys leave a comment below. How old is Peter Schiff? I just don't want to stop this right now, but let's actually get into what Pat says.
I would tell you, gold, to me, it's selling Armageddon. So Peter Schiff is selling end of the world. Gold's going to go to 5,000. So any gold salesman's always sold end of the world. Equities, they sell innovation. Things are going to innovate. It's a good time to buy stock. It's going to go up. Facebook's going to go up. Amazon's going to go up. That's how stockbrokers sell. I've been a broker for 20 years, Series 7. But crypto is selling disruption. And what annoys people when you talk about cryptocurrency, the old ways of doing things, somebody that's only sold gold or somebody that's even only sold equities or bankers, these big banks, they don't.
Now, remember, guys, that Patrick Bet-David is obviously talking about innovation, right? And I believe, and it's so true. The cryptos and the Bitcoin and the sort of stuff is here to stay, right? But initially, history repeats itself. And what's happening right now, actually, in the crypto market as we speak right now, is exactly what happened in the tech bubble. Why are people surprised? Why are people so surprised about the crypto crash? It's the exact same thing. Learn from history.
I don't like these young guys coming out saying, hey, we're going to do Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever maybe. And then the other thing we ought to be thinking about as well as the following. The average age of somebody that owns a crypto coin is 38 years old. The average age of somebody that owns equities is 47 years old. The average age of somebody that owns gold is mid-50s to late 50s. Anybody that's more...
So you can see, obviously, mid-50s to late 50s, that's who actually owns gold. Well, that's obviously the average people, right? Obviously, the average people... The older the people they go to, the older that they understand the value of gold, right? And again, I'm not gold or crypto. I'm actually both, and I'll explain the reason why.
We're afraid of what the future looks like. Typically, is going to buy something more secure, and that's how gold's being sold. But unfortunately, to Peter's argument, crypto's here to stay.
Well, Peter, I'll allow you to respond. Your thoughts on what Patrick said.
Well, first of all, selling crypto, you're selling hype, you're selling fantasy, a dream, and fear all rolled into one, and greed. I've been in the investment business for my entire life, and I buy for my clients equities and gold. We buy gold to be a small part of the portfolio. It's an alternative to holding cash. It's a better long-term store of value. If other things are expensive, you can keep your powder dry in gold. But Bitcoin doesn't fall into any real category. It's not an investment in that it doesn't have a yield like stocks, or it doesn't pay rent like real estate, or interest like a bond. It's not a commodity like gold. You said only older people own gold. People own gold in jewelry. Gold is a real thing. Everybody that owns a cell phone owns some gold because it's inside the cell phone. Gold is an actual metal that's used.
Yeah,
Patrick, everybody else want to be here. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Patrick,
again, this is a bar of gold. This is a bar of gold. I own gold, just so you know. Each kilo of gold is roughly $60,000. The year I was born, 78, 79, was $21,000. This has gone up 2.2, 2.3% since 1979, the year after I was born. That's 2.3% last 40-something years. The way I would sell gold, if I was Peter, my suggestion would be stop directly competing with crypto because it's not a good competition for you. You're going to lose. This is a Babe Ruth card. Okay, a Babe Ruth card I bought 4 years ago for $125,000. This is a $750,000 card today. Baseball cards, collectible cards are...
Now, remember, he's talking about a baseball card right now, right? We're talking about... we're talking about different things right now. It's like, obviously, but remember last year, right, when all the free money was going out? That's the reason why NFTs was blowing up, the crypto market was blowing up, and all that sort of stuff. Because guess what? Because of all this free money and cheap money, and everything was overinflated. That's why you're seeing things come down, crashing down big time right now. Everything was overinflated. So he's talking about, this is what my card's worth right now. But again, where is he? He's on the tail end of all that free money.
Crushing gold. Gold should only compete directly for Armageddon, end of the world, or an insurance policy.
Patrick,
not with
Peter, one final response. I got about 15 seconds. Hold on, guys. Peter, one final response from you. I got about 15 seconds left. Go ahead.
Patrick got born at the end of a huge gold bull market where it went from $35 an ounce to $850. So you can't pick that particular point of time as your reference point and say gold isn't a good store of value when you measure it against the peak price over the long term.
It is the same thing.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to do.
So Patrick Bet-David obviously just said to Peter Schiff, you've been saying that gold is going to 5,000 for a long time, and that's where I actually agree with Peter Schiff. Right, I agree with Peter Schiff about how gold is going to 5,000, possibly even going to 10,000. Again, he's a big picture. This is where a lot of people get mistaken when it actually comes to Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff is a big picture here, and Patrick Bet-David is obviously having a go at Peter. But Peter Schiff is really good at looking at the overall picture. What's likely to happen over this next, from now through to, through the next this decade, right? He's very, very, very big. He's not really good on the short term sort of stuff, but the overall picture, he's really, really, really good. And if we have a actually look at the actual gold chart here, the gold right now is at 1860, and it's been basing out now for, as you know, for a couple of years. The really big thing when it comes to gold is that, I also do see that gold is likely to make a very big move up to the upside. Now, why do I say that? A few things. This is actually a screenshot of a article that happened in Ray Dalio's book here, and you can see here stage number 6. then there is a flight back to hard money when taken too far. Now, guys, this is about the new world order, right? And we're getting into that stage 6 very, very soon. Now, when I say soon, over the next few years, and maybe the second half of this decade, but by 2030, believe me, guys, we would have been not stage 6, but stage 1. What does that mean? Restarting of the stages. That means we would have already gone through this stage here. When taken too far, overprinting of fiat currency leads to selling of dead assets and earlier, as earlier described, bank run dynamic, which ultimately reduces the value of money and credit, which prompt by people fleeing out of the currency and debt. So basically what's happening here is this, is that we can see here that obviously we all know that the government is like, if you don't know, the government will default on their debt. It's coming. Now, I believe before that it's coming of the debt, I believe that we are going to see we're going to see a recession. We're going to see another really big QE package to be the big QE of all QEs. And then what's likely to happen is that when that actually happens, then on the other side of that, that's when a massive default is going to happen. Massive restructuring is going to happen. The collapse of the dollar, which Peter Schiff talks about, is going to happen. You can just see it. It's the steps in the printing. This is also what Ray Dalio talks about, right? History teaches us that people typically turn to gold, silver, stocks and maintain their value and currencies and assets in other countries not having these problems. Some people think that there has to be an alternative reserve currency that go for a flight to happen, but that's not true, as the same dynamic of the breakdown of the monetary system and running to other assets happen in cases. So again here, that as you can see here, then there's a flight back to hard money. We go from soft money to hard money, soft money to hard money. What is the next steps? And this is where crypto, right? Where does crypto come into it? Yes, I believe we all know there's going to be a digital currency, but the digital currency is no different to then just fiat money. What's going to give it the value? Gold, right? Then there's a stage, as Ray Dalio says, through history, there's always been soft money, hard money, soft money, hard money. We're at soft money right now. Soft money, which means what? The 1970, the delinking. So there's not a gold back in the paper, and now the paper's worth less and less and less, right? And then guess what? Now the next stage is we're going to go back to gold. So that, to me, it just makes sense that we're going to have a gold-backed digital currency. And again, this is what Ray Dalio talks about as well too. So that's obviously what they talked about there. And now I actually want to bring you back to, so that's obviously what they'll talk about there, right? Remember, Patrick Bet-David was like, he's like, obviously, he was very, what's the word for it? He was very, very sort of, saying like basically, cryptocurrencies and NFTs, or he was on the back of that, right? And Peter Schiff was saying, I'm not getting fooled for this, right? So let's go have a look at the debate that actually happened just recently, about 6 days ago.
Well, Bitcoin has been plummeting. It's another cringe day for crypto.
The value of cryptocurrency has been dropping dramatically.
Crypto crash, crypto crash, crypto crash.
That's right, the market has lost 70% of its profits in the past 8 months.
More than $200 billion were wiped out of the crypto market over the weekend.
Welcome back to Unfiltered. Cryptocurrencies.
Now, again, traders, I must stress this here, right? We saw this happening. Again, if you've been watching my videos now for over 1 year, you would know that I was saying all last year, don't touch crypto, don't touch crypto. This is a bubble, it's gonna bust, it's gonna bust, right? I was saying that for so long over the last 12 months. And why? Because it's just history repeating itself. Nothing is new right now, traders. Nothing is new. We can actually see what's likely to happen moving forward. When it comes to the new thing that's coming out, that's making revolution, that's going to probably make a revolutionary change. Okay, let's go back to the last time that actually happened, and then see what actually happened. Oh, that was the internet. That was the latest new thing, was the internet, right? That people called a scam. People called all that sort of thing, right? Scam, it's useless. What's that sort of stuff? There's no way I'm going to do that. 20 years later, look at it now, right? But the 2000s was what? The roaring 2000s, the tech bubble, and then guess what? The tech bust. 98% of cryptos got washed out. 5% of cryptos, or probably even 3% of cryptos, stayed, and the businesses stayed. And then guess what? Those companies become a major part of our life today. That's exactly what's going to happen with the crypto market. So we're going through that washing out phase right now. This is nothing new, traders. Again, just look at history. I've made so much more money shorting crypto lately than I have been buying crypto. Right now, yes, I did make some really good money on Ethereum. When Ethereum took off past 400 and into the thousands, then yes, I made some really good money on that. But most of my trades have actually been shorting the crypto market, and so that's where my thing is here. But traders, the thing is that because we're so stuck on this thing right now, like which is crypto, right? We're so stuck on that thing that we're totally missing the point that. This is like history. When you really look at it, there's nothing new, right? When was the last time we had an inflationary boom? Oh, 1970s. Okay, so because there's nothing new under the sun, and the same things happen again and again and again. If we want to see what's likely to happen this decade, moving forward, so we can position ourselves, let's actually go back to the 1970s and see what happened there, because there's a high probability something similar, maybe not the same, but something similar is likely to happen. Anyway, let's get straight into this interview here.
Got beat up this week, right? More than $1 trillion of value has been wiped out in recent months. Critics are saying a lot of this "I told you so" stuff, but is this the end of the crypto craze? Here to weigh in is chief economist at Euro Pacific Peter Schiff and entrepreneur Patrick Bet David. Peter, you've been
now, man. Patrick Bet David's like. He's like, oh, I'm coming on to an interview 6 months later, and Peter Schiff is like, I told you so. Now, Peter Schiff has obviously gotten a lot of flack for what he's done right now. You know, a lot of flack for what he's been saying about crypto market, right? And he's been right. He has been right. It's been a crypto craze, and right now there's not much backing it. Yes, people can say that it's all this sort of stuff, right, behind the scenes. But the thing is that Peter Schiff is actually talking about that sort of stuff, you know, and the thing is that Peter is definitely right on the big picture, what's happening right now. But one thing that I think Peter's missing is and I'll get to that in just a minute. But Patrick Bet David's just like, oh, I'm coming on to an interview where Peter Schiff 6 months later saying, I told you so.
on the show before about this topic. Been a tough couple months for crypto. Is this the end, or have we hit the bottom?
Well, we definitely haven't hit the bottom. I kind of hope it's the end, or at least the beginning of the end, before more people have an opportunity to lose more money in this pyramid scheme. But, you talk about all the value that's evaporated. It's just market value. There's no real value in Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies. They simply have a price. And as long as people are foolish enough to pay that price, you'll have market value. But the only reason people want any cryptocurrencies is because they think they're going to get rich. They think there's a greater fool out there that's going to pay a higher price. Only they don't realize that they're waiting for a fool. And ultimately, the fools that are left holding the bag are the losers. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are going to be bag holders in this. I think a lot.
Yeah, so you can see here, crypto crash wiped out more than $1 trillion. And again, traders, like, we shouldn't be alarmed by this. The thing is, if you were hurt by the crypto market, the crypto crash, right? If you were hurt by that, just sit back and say, okay, then what can I learn from this? Oh, okay. Well, I was so blinded by the hype and the media and the millions of dollars that potentially that people are going to make, that I totally forgot that this is just history repeating itself. Okay, cool. So if I didn't study history because I didn't see what's happening here, what should I do now? Oh, I should study history. Okay, so what's happening right now in the economy? Where are we headed right now? What's likely to do well? What's not likely to do well? Let's actually start to position myself. So I'm not getting in on hope, but I'm getting on based off the rhythm of the cycles and so on and so forth.
Of the original investors, the whales, they've been dumping. I mean, they pumped this thing up. They paid off all these celebrities and athletes and politicians, and they hyped the hell out of it over the past year. They spent all sorts of money on commercials and conferences, and they dumped out all this stuff to the public, and they were cashing out. And now the bottom's dropping out of the market, and we have a long way to fall.
Patrick, I'll let you respond. Your thoughts on that?
And obviously, Peter Schiff says we have a long way to fall with that there, and that's obviously one thing that I also do believe. Right, we're going to get a massive capitulation that's going to happen. And the one thing that I was actually saying last year, I'm just saying this is the Internet 2.0 happening right now in front of us. Again, just study history, right? And the reason why I was saying that is because, like, I had friends of mine creating their own cryptos, and they're worthless. Like, I'm going to create my own crypto, and you should buy my own crypto because this is decentralized. And we're going to have our own currency, and we're going to have our own sort of small segment of farms, and you can come and we're going to barter with this new cryptocurrency, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And then 6 months later, they're coming out with, oh, this is our new cryptocurrency, and when you buy this, you're going to be supporting the free media and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like, hang on a minute, there's actually nothing backing this stuff, right? At least when you buy like Apple, you're actually buying Apple, right? You're buying their earnings. At least you get a dividend from that. You're actually buying something. And so, yeah.
Well, listen, this has got to be Peter Fish's favorite season because his phrase moving forward for the next 6 to 12 months is going to be, I told you so. Peter, you are...
It's like, and then Patrick Bet David, he's just like, I told you so, I told you so. And again, now Patrick Bet David's obviously got a different tune right now, right? He's obviously got a different tune. The tune is, and again, guys, like I'm not bagging both of these guys. I'm just here having a debate between them. Like I'm just throwing my opinions and my thoughts at what's happening here and what I'm seeing from a big picture perspective, looking at history also, looking at Ray Dalio stuff, and put it together in one video for you guys. Okay.
I want to buy a shirt that says, I told you so, and enjoy it for a year, maybe 18, 24 months, but I'll take a couple things here.
But you know what? As Patrick Bet David is actually saying that right now, yes, you watch. Peter Schiff will be right. And he is actually being right about that because it is a craze. And you watch, he will be right about gold as well.
Part we got to be thinking about is Peter may be right. Here's the thing, when disruption and change happen.
Oh, change of tune there. Oh, Peter Schiff may be right. It's like there's actually a change of tune, isn't there? A change of tune of just like, and I look there, I stopped it on 222. Do you guys believe in lucky numbers? 222. The whole thing about 6 months earlier, what was Pat saying? Pat was saying, that there's crypto's here to stay, NFTs, cold cards and so on and so forth. Now he's saying, now the tune has actually changed.
Happens, we don't know who's right. There's a side where it's the way it's always been done that's afraid of change. That's more Peter's camp, which is gold, equities, this is what we got to be doing. They have no clue what they're doing. It's a scam, it's this, they're just trying to pump and dump. You don't know what we're doing. Okay, fine, he may be right, but he may also be wrong. And then there's the other side, which the younger generation is saying, Peter, we just don't like the way you've been doing things. We don't. We just don't trust the Fed. We would trust gold if our money was backed by gold, but it's not. And your dream of the government and our currency being backed by gold, it's going to take a lot of convincing and a lot of powerful people to say yes for that to happen. So because of that, Peter, we think you're a little bit naive and you're oblivious to what's taking place. We want to take it in a different direction because we no longer trust the centralized monetary.
So what Pat's talking about here, Pat's obviously saying he's obviously talking about the younger generation about what's coming, and this is where I believe both of these guys are going to be right. Peter Schiff's going to be right because we are going to see massive defaults, massive restructuring. We're going to see a $5,000 or $10,000 gold. Because of that, the dollar's going to get hammered the second half of this decade. Gold's going to skyrocket. Probably even the gold mining stocks, and the mining stocks are going to go along with it as well too. I've done my videos about the mining sector. In the past, I believe it's also based on cycles. We're going to have a mining boom this decade. It's going to happen. You can just see it coming a mile away. But all we have to do is make sure we position ourselves and then just be patient with that market there. And so we're looking at that through there. But then also Patrick Bet David is also, I believe, is going to be right as well too, because just like the internet days, there is going to be a handful of these cryptocurrencies that 20 years from now, it's just going to be part of our life.
System, we want it to be decentralized. But I'm going to tell you this here, Dan, for us to be thinking about. No one is 100% certain who's going to be right. It's going to take about 12 to 24 months, maybe 36 more months for us to know whether Peter's camp is right or whether their camp is right. But if there's one thing that we know, when you watch the younger generation, years ago when Snapchat came out, I wasn't on Snapchat, I was on Facebook and Instagram. I'm in Hawaii, this girl named Phoebe's telling me, let me teach you about Snapchat. And I got on Snapchat. We have to pay attention to what the youth is saying because they just may be right.
All right, Peter, I got about just under a minute left. I'm tight on time, but your response to that?
Well, the youth, can be setting the trends in music and fashion, but you don't want to take your investment advice through them. Investment advice is better taken from people who have been around, they're seasoned, that they have more experience and wisdom. And look, I don't trust the central banks either. And if you like gold, there's nothing that says you can't have a cryptocurrency backed by gold. You marry all of the positive aspects of a crypto.
Oh, see, did you see what happened just then? Patrick Bet David obviously nodded his head. That's to me, guys, that just makes the most sense, right? And again, if you just study history, and Ray Dalio's book is obviously really good for that, and obviously that image that I showed you before about how we go back to hard money. That it just makes sense that we're probably going to go to some sort of gold backing, to some sort of real value again, right? We're going to, as the governments default on their debt and restructuring and bank runs and all that sort of stuff, as that sort of stuff happens, guess what? We're going to start to go back to some sort of hard money, right? So go back to real value. How is something that can be printed easy, such as a cryptocurrency or a digital dollar, how is that real money, right? And so that's where,
cryptocurrency with the benefits of gold. You have something that's stable, store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to bring it into the 21st century with blockchain.
And that's where I absolutely totally agree with Peter. He's obviously talking about that, about obviously linking the both. And you could see even Patrick Bet David was nodding his head, and it's just like, yeah, well, that obviously makes sense, because if I give you a digital coin right now, right, a digital dollar, so here's $1 and I have a digital. Well, what's the value behind that? But if I give you $1 and I say, okay, this is actually linked to an ounce of gold, well, then now we actually can truly value it, right? And that's exactly what actually happened back in the 1970s. And again, if you read Ray Dalio's book there, The Changing World Order, you can actually see exactly what he said there. And again, if we go back to just looking at this image here, right? Through history, the cycles go from soft money to hard money, the soft money to hard money. 1970, we de-linked from the soft money. Now we're going back to what? Now we're going back to the hard money again.
That's an interesting idea.
Well,
Guys, I always
just
love
10 seconds here. Just 10 seconds here.
10 seconds, I got to run.
10 seconds. If it's about taking advice from the wise, we should take advice from Janet Yellen and Nancy Pelosi, and they got it wrong. So, Peter, remember.
Yeah, so we just finish off with that. So that's obviously what's happening through there, guys. I'd like to get your opinion on what you see. The big picture is what I see is I believe they're both going to be right, but they just don't understand that the cycle. I think a lot of them got sort of sucked in as well too. A big picture. Peter Schiff is going to be right. Peter Schiff has always been big picture. He hasn't always been right on the short term picture, but I believe the overall picture on what's going to slowly happen over this decade is 5,000 gold, the debt restructuring and all that sort of stuff. I think, I believe Peter Schiff is going to be right. One thing that Peter Schiff hasn't gotten right is that the timeline of things, and this is where probably Ray Dalio's stuff has been really amazing because he understands the cycle and evolution of the printing money and the currency debt and so on and so forth. So this is where it's good to learn from both of those. But then also on the flip side of it, cryptocurrency is going to be a big part of our life moving forward, and it just is, right. We don't know how, but when it comes to like all this sort of stuff and what's happening with the trends of things that are happening right now, I believe that this is going to be a major part of our life in 20 years to come, right? Because this is how evolution works. 20 years ago, well, internet, what are you on that thing for? Now it's like everyone's got the computer, everyone's got the phones, everyone's got that sort of stuff. And now we're moving forward. Right now, crypto is like a crypto scam and then I guarantee you the exact same that is happening right now. If we actually go to the Nasdaq, right? Let's actually go to the Nasdaq and we look at the Nasdaq. And we can actually bring up the weekly charts, right? And we go back to the tech boom. This is exactly what happened with the tech boom. As you can see, tech boom, tech bust. And then I guarantee you, everyone was saying that I told you this was going to be wrong. I told you. This is going to be wrong. This is going to be wrong. This is going to be wrong. This is going to be wrong, right? And then obviously what happened many years later, as you can see, many years later. So if as the market came crashing down, if there's actually if there comes out with an actual overall crypto basket of sort of like like an ETF, like the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq, the top tech stocks, if there's going to be an ETF, I'm not sure if there is right now. Leave a comment below. Let me know if there is. But if there's going to be an ETF that obviously has say the top 50 or the top 100 cryptos in there, and does like the Nasdaq, then guess what's going to happen 20 years from now? As the crypto market's crashing, if we can actually start to buy here, and here, but we have a 20-year view, then we're probably going to see this here again. We're going to see this here 20 years later. It might take 20 years to make that big move, but if you could just maybe put some money aside, put some money aside, we're probably going to get this up and down swing, but we're probably going to see this same boom again. It's the same thing over and over again, guys. So anyway, traders, leave a comment below and let me know what you think about what I've said today.